Go ahead and close your eyes. And as your eyes close, again, just start to feel your breath. Let's take an exhale together. An inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause the breath. And exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause and hold. Exhale 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's do one more round. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Calm, slow, connected. I invite you to imagine a room, and the room represents your mind. And just take that visual of your mind for a few minutes and breathe. Now, within that room is also a curtain. So I invite you to step behind the curtain where you can see the craziness of your mind. Step into that observer. Step further back. So there you go. Further back and breathe. From this place of the observer, see if you can find just a little bit of stillness. The fact that you can see your mind tells you you're not your mind. So I'm going to encourage you to stay here for about 6 breaths. And from this place of seeing that you're not your mind, can you welcome in 5 things you're grateful for right now? Gratitude for this place of stillness. Maybe gratitude for the ability to observe this. Maybe gratitude for this moment that you can breathe in and breathe out. Just see if 1 or 2 more or 3 more things come into, there you go, into your body, into your mind. Take a few breaths. Slow, deep, calm breaths. And then when you're ready, gently open your eyes. Morning, everybody. It's great to see everybody. Carlene, it's great to see. It's great to see everybody. I'll go around the room and say hi to everybody, but so good to see you guys. So on these Zoom calls on Mondays, like I wrote in the note this morning, today's is going to be half an hour, but in the future, I'll try to keep a bit more flex with that end time. What I plan to do is just teach something really tiny and then open up to Q&A coaching, see what's coming out for you guys. So this month we're in gratitude. Last month we're in forgiveness, and you can still be in forgiveness. That's totally cool. Jump into gratitude, whatever, jump back and forth, gratitude, back and forth. The whole idea of these 2 practices together is that once you're more comfortable with them both, and they become kind of your mainstay, gratitude, forgiveness, you'll notice your mind, you'll be like, if you're in the moment right now, it's going to be easy to hop into gratitude. Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle, he lives down the street. We have all heard of him, right? And so power of now is like right now, the stillness. And when you're there, so that meditation I just took you into, this is your mind right here. They talk about the veil. Behind that curtain, you're the observer. And I always say, every class I teach, the observer concept, we all know it, but we don't practice it. We're like, oh, yeah, my husband's driving me crazy. And you're in your mind. The biggest thing is to step out and go, oh, look, there's that robot called Linda. There's that robot called Judy. And she's thinking her husband's driving her crazy. Cool. And that observer concept is where all your power lies. That's where your stillness lies. That's where gratitude gets easier from. But then if you find yourself not in gratitude, which is totally normal, you're human, you're either past, future, past, future, past, future. Kind of make sense? You're past, future, past, future, past, future, you're in your robot. And that robot, a bunch of you guys are in the healing lab, a bunch of you guys are in my return to self containers. That's where we go deeper to go, okay, well, what is this robotic thought I'm having? Oh, I'm alone. Oh, I got to figure it out. Oh, it's all up to me. And then we can like dive in and start to heal that stuff. My guides are saying timeout, let them ask questions. So what's coming up for you guys? Questions, coaching, what's coming up for you guys? Because they just gave you the timeout signal. I could talk for like the full 30 minutes, trust me. Anything coming up for you guys? Where are you guys at?
It's Tina. I just wanted to share something that occurred for me. Now, you know, I've been having this big kerfuffle with Marcus and Barb. And on Friday, I asked the divine to show me show me something different, show me something different. And so Saturday night, I'm just raging when I get home because they're there and I'm blah, blah, blah in my head. And then Sunday, I phoned my friend and I said, and he's talking. He goes, Tina, you remember when you were in Mexico and you phoned me and we had basically resolved 2 years worth of
Right.
stuff.
I remember that.
And remember, you were the power of attorney. You didn't think you could do it, and you did it. And he said, Tina, this is nothing. This is nothing compared to what you've gone through. This is nothing. And I got it. It was nothing. And done. And I sent her a note on Messenger, and I just said, oh, great, thanks for posting all these dance events. Done. Now, it doesn't mean I'm going to be your best buddy.
Sure.
But it's done. And I actually feel like I'm coming from love now. And I just wanted to share that because asking to see it a different way, that's what happened. I got to see it a different way, but not what I would have expected. Right? And not using forgiveness and
Right.
gratitude.
Yeah.
It just came in a sentence.
Totally. I
And
love
I
it.
want to share that, like, it works.
Thanks, Tina. Tina's in my other containers, and that what she's referring to. I don't know if I've taught it I don't remember what I teach where. This concept of I want to let me find peace instead of this. A lot of the work I teach is from A Course in Miracles, and that's one of the lessons in ACIM. I want to find peace instead of this. If you've read my post yesterday, I put up a post about my husband driving me crazy about about road rage, and it takes that moment to go, oh look, I'm going to judge him. I want to see peace instead of this. I want to see if I peace. And then when we keep reminding ourselves and bring in our guides and work with them, that's where magic happens. So thank you, Tina, for that share. And just a quick reminder, as you guys open up to Q&A, just a couple of small things just for like logistics. These videos are shared on Skool and it's an open platform. So in case you're like, I don't want somebody to watch me, turn your video off, change your name. I don't care. I just like to say that for logistics sakes. And the other thing, all the questions and coaching that I do, I want you to imagine that there's a grid and all of our minds are joined on this like energy grid. So I don't know if you know, but what Tina just shared energetically was something that each of us needed to hear. Got it? I can find peace instead of this. So I want you to know that when I move into Q&A coaching, and if there's nothing to coach, I can teach for another 20 minutes. I'm totally cool with that. But if you can be open that there's only one mind, and that's the collective mind that we're in right now. Any other coaching questions come up for anybody?
I have one, Debbie.
Go for it, Eileen.
I want to check this out, so whether this is right or not. But I'm discovering, I'm on day 28, and through the 28 days, I'm discovering that I can't do forgiveness until I do rage.
Yes.
So I can't, it's like until I thump the hell out of the pillow, I can't get there. Is that me? Or is
oh my God, I love you. Okay. I love these questions, guys. Okay. So can I teach from that, Eileen?
Yeah, please.
I don't remember if I taught this. See, I have to remember when I'm teaching these, the Skool videos, I teach two other big containers. Eileen's in them both as well, Return to Self and Healing Lab. And so when I'm going to teach Skool videos, I don't remember what I taught. Just it's not like I write it out. My guides tell me what to teach, and I just hop on and teach. So what Eileen is speaking to is, okay, so imagine a blank piece of paper like this big. On the bottom is the emotions of powerlessness, depression, anxiety, grief, guilt. They're all the same. If you study the Abraham Hicks work, you know that. They're on the bottom. And then rage and anger are here. Now, what most humans do, if you're in my guilt workshop on the weekend, I taught about it. Most people go from powerlessness to anger. And I'll give you an example in a second. And then they feel guilty and they go right back down. So there's this cycle. Think of it. I was speaking about this on the guilt workshop. We're driving 5 kids around town. We spent 3 hours in the car. We haven't eaten. And Joey over, he says, Mom, I have to pee. And you're like losing your shit because you're on the highway. There's no bathroom for miles. What do? You go, excuse my language. Fuck off, Joey, because that's the natural reaction, right? Hold your pee your pants. I don't care. That's the natural reaction. But what do moms do? We're like, I'm angry. Oh, I'm bad, mom. And it happens faster than you know it. That's the ego's favorite thing to do. The ego wants guilt It wants you to stay powerless, and it wants you to think you're a piece of shit. Sorry, guys. I swear if they tell me to swear. So just so y'all know. And so what Eileen's referring to is and then when I teach my workshops, especially in person, we go through a whole spiel as to why people don't like anger. And it sort of divides into two groups of people that are comfortable with their anger, somebody like Lindsay or Eve, comfortable with their anger, no problem. And then there's the majority of people that are like, anger's not safe. Dad was angry. If I get angry, it's horrible. And it's not like I'm trying to make you angryaholics. I'm not. Trust me, I'm not. But there's science that shows that when we let ourselves feel angry, and if you've ever let yourself feel angry, there's a moment after the anger where there's like clarity. It's like, oh, before we guilt ourselves out. Got it? So finding healthy forms of anger is something I teach a lot in my retreats and events, because it's something that's necessary. I don't want you to stay there. Straight up, I don't. But if we don't let ourselves feel it, we're just the physiology is powerlessness is running you, because we're all older than 20. And for 20, 30, 40 years, I always say, when you're 16, you are the most powerless. You can't drive, you can't vote, you want to drink, you can't, life sucks. You need a credit card from your mother. Like, imagine, remember being 16? So you now have spent 18, 20 years, if not longer, in powerless. So it's a very dominant energy in our body. And I might share on that in a minute, but I'll leave that alone for a sec. Oh no, I'm going to share on it right now. So why does this occur? If you are a child of God, I'll come back to Eileen's question in a second. If you understand the metaphysics of it all, you are a child of God and you come onto the human planet for the manifestation of the divine. You're here for the manifestation of your power. That's what you're here for. You're here for the extension of the energy of the divine I am, to have that experience. That's why we're here. Of love, of joy, of freedom, of seeing your ability to manifest. Great. You are that energy. And so because you come from that place that can create anything from Mount Everest to Grails Mountain to a coffee out of nowhere, that's who you are. So you come and you experience exactly the opposite, only to return to who you truly are. Actually quite a mind F-U-C-K when you think about it, which is why we spend decades looking at our trauma and our pain and our fears and our anxieties and our worries. And then we heal them. But in my world, in Divi's world, the mind cannot heal the mind. Only spirit can heal the mind. I have a part of me that's very anxious. And if I try to tell the part of me that I'm anxious that it's okay, not going to happen. But if I go behind that curtain that I had you guys see, and I see myself as anxious, I'm like, oh, so here's the curtain. Here's the mind, which is crazy. And I'm standing back here and I'm like, oh, I can see that. This is the I am. This is the truth of who you are. This is your power. This is your stillness. This is where you fucking can create anything in the world you want. This is where you rock. Well, you're over here in your crazy mind. So if I'm the I am stillness of peace and joy and love, this is who I am. Then from here, I'm like, oh, look at that little girl over here who's anxious. Oh, but this is who I am. And so this is when I say the mind can't heal the mind. Here's the mind. It's useless to, like, I've spent years, decades, me trying to heal that part of me. Doesn't do a squat. When I step into spirit and I connect to the I am consciousness, which we all do in the retreats and in the return to self container, there's like, oh, fuck, God, yeah, I am her. I am a consciousness, a child of God. And I'll get back to your comment, Eileen. And so the humanness is to we come here as a child of God over here. And then we create this whole crazy shit over here, only to return here, which is insane. Now, how does this relate to anger? So powerless to anger, because we have a nervous system, needs to be experienced. But then once you let yourself feel anger, which is what Eileen's talking about, hit the pillow, scream into the pillow, scream in the car. And it's not just once, it's going to happen on and off. It's just welcome to being a human. Okay. I still have days that I get angry. I always say people find a healthy form of anger. So my husband and I go boxing, where we punch a boxing bag once a week, right? Last week, the guy wasn't there. So this week's going to be good, right? Because we've missed a week and our bodies are used to once a week. Got it? But it's a way for us to get it out, right? And then just so I'll share what happens to me the more I'm comfortable with my anger. When you're comfortable with your anger, and then you can sit back and observe yourself. This is A Course in Miracles. The only reason you're angry, and this is a bit more advanced, the only reason you're angry is because you forgot that you were the divine. And that's where you can forgive. Does that make sense, Eileen?
Mm.
How does that feel in your body? But you're right, your nervous system, I can feel it. There's a lot of rage, but it's not just yours and it's not just, it's ancestral, but it's
Mm.
because I've had to do this myself, it doesn't take forever, right? I remember when I
Mm.
bought my punching bag, used to have one, which I gave away after I got, it just took a few months to bite things out and just, used to do it at home. It was a healthier way than me yelling at my husband. It was a healthier way than for me. But yes, Eileen, it wants to come out. Does that help?
Yeah. So is that raging a necessary part of the forgiveness process?
It is only because forgiveness is when we know that it's not. So here's powerless, here's anger. Most
Mm.
people try to forgive in this energy field down here, and that's when it can't work.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
forgiveness from up here is, oh yeah, look, that mind I just talked about. Oh, look, I forgot I was that. So yes, it is a necessary part.
Okay.
Long answer to it. The other
All right.
technique, I don't know if I've told you this, and the other technique they're showing me for you, because we haven't met in person yet, is to push against a wall. So when you work in person with me, and even Lindsay've had many chances to do it, Tina's had many chances to do it, is we have them push against each other, like physically. We don't all have to do it, but it actually works really, really well to just push against a wall and yell at the wall and go
Okay.
physically, because it's all in your upper back, which is why I said that.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
But great question. Hey, Troy.
Hello. Okay, so a couple of things. Just piggybacking on the trend on anger. It's just become aware to me. I know that I often just kind of operate around the anger and just like, oh no, I'm good. It's
fine.
good and I'm fine, sort of thing. So I had a couple questions. One was how does it impact me? And then the other thing is how do I become more present to it? Because what I've tried to do is incorporate things like lifting weights,
Right.
playing squash where I'm hitting the ball as hard as I can, and then even hitting a punching bag. But it feels like there's still the presence isn't necessarily there. Sometimes I can be present to, let's say, somebody that's been bugging me recently. But other than that, it's just kind of like a general thing. And is that kind of sufficient?
Yes, they're saying yes and no. Really, it's for yourself, but I think for a lot of people, if anyone hasn't read that book, you don't have to read it, but it's called Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman. It came out like 20 or 25 years ago. It was one of my first books I read, probably 25 years ago. It's quite a good book, but it talks about how we're a very emotionally unintelligent society. And emotionally, like, so what they're showing me for yourself, Troy, and myself, is we come from families who mute their emotions. And then if you're raised like that, like I was, like I remember, and a lot of people have heard this, like, I mean, I had my heart broken. I was 20, we all had our heart broken. I remember getting on the phone with my dad, crying my eyes out. My dad said, go back to work. It will be fine. And that's always his response. Just go back to work. It'll be fine. Go back to work. Right. And I'd cry. And he'd be like, even now I visit the least because when I see them, I just cry my eyes out. And they're like, go back. We can't handle you crying. Right. So Troy, it's emotional intelligence. So just what really helped me was I print out the emotional scale, which is from Abraham Hicks, and you have access to the Healing Lab. It's in the back pages there. You can also just Google it. I had that on my phone, and every 15 minutes I would ask myself, what do I feel? What do I feel? What do I feel? What do I feel? And it would force me to get out of my head, because I can be a really heady girl, and get into my body. But then I would also change the dialogue from, hey, Rachel, what are you thinking, to, hey, Rachel, what are you feeling? Right. So that became more of my dialogue, versus growing up, it was always, hey, Judy, what are you thinking of doing today? Now the conversation becomes, hey, what are you feeling? So I started changing that conversation in my life. And then with myself, hey, Divya, what are you feeling? Then I could get more in touch with my emotions. But if I hadn't looked at my emotions for 30 years. And does that help, Troy?
Yeah, definitely that does help. Thank you.
Of course.
Dr. Divya, I have a question along those
Yeah.
same lines. So I think I've been more in touch with my emotions and my feelings, and I worked on some anger relief, but like just this past weekend when I was angry, I realized that what made me angry was just something stupid. And I feel like I let it go, but sometimes I wonder if I'm still stuffing my emotions down or really truly letting them go.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Do you mind sharing a bit more about what made you angry?
So I've had some past family issues with my mom and my sister, and they're really people who sort of hit my buttons all the time, and I know and understand they're not going to change. I used to think that I could change them, but as they become more persistent and pushy in certain issues, I just sort of accept them for the way they are and say, you know what, I'm not going to change them. And I've actually become comfortable being able to help them. And still, sometimes they can be, so it was basically, they were irritating me. And I said, you know, I'm going to let it go. I meditated on the situation. My sister was basically asking for help. And I decided that I'm going to help her, but I'm also going to maintain setting boundaries.
Really important. A couple things are showing me, and please correct me if this isn't resonating. Do you sometimes feel powerless around them?
Yes.
Okay, that's the feeling I keep feeling, because when you speak about them, I keep hearing they trigger. They're showing a picture of, like, you know how you said they trigger me.
Yeah.
And I can totally relate to this. It's like they're showing me a picture of an electrical outlet, and like they triggered the powerless feeling in you.
Okay.
Is it making sense up here?
Yes.
Your brain. Okay. So when they and according to them, the rest of it is more surface, like, you know, helping and all that stuff. And the boundaries are important. But really what so the anger is important, but and because I can really relate to Carlene, I think a lot of us sensitives, we grew up in families where that's the experience, right? So what I had to do was I had to create a boundary with my family for a few months where I was like, okay, I need to heal this part of me that feels powerless.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
So then so how you heal that part of you that's powerless is by forgiving it.
Okay.
Because I can feel it. It's in your upper stomach. It's in your neck too. So like you have to visualize those parts of you, that little girl inside of you who felt powerless, and do one of the forgiveness prayers there's millions of them on there.
Right.
And give that powerlessness up to God.
Okay.
There, right there. You just did it. And then take the power back, because your sister and your mother, I know you've heard this, are your greatest teachers, because they're teaching you to take that power back.
Right.
Right. And so whenever they trigger you, it's like, oh, I'm just going to forgive myself because I forgot I was God. Child of God. Got it. Thank you. Tick. And this is going to exponentially push you, which I know you know. So that trigger of irritation is beautiful. It's beautiful. And what do you do with it? Because really what you're angry at is yourself for forgetting that.
Okay.
Does that resonate up here?
Yes.
Yeah. A bunch of your guys are applauding you because you've got a grandmother who's standing right behind you who's like, this is grandmother, great grandmother. She's like, this is a family trait that keeps getting handed down generation after generation after generation. So she is just like, she's like squeezing your cheek saying, thank you. Does that resonate?
Thank you. Thank you.
For you. It's so good to see you. Thank you. Hey, Jen.
Hi, Debbie. Good to see you.
Great to see you.
I just have a question. When we were talking about emotions, I've got 20 safe foods I can have right now. And so as I go out and I start to, try different foods, or I get triggered by different foods, they really affect me not only physically, but emotionally. So for example, I had sprouts this morning with my eggs, and I thought they were the different type of sprout. I had a reaction to them. I totally felt anxious, and then panic attacky, and then lethargic and apathetic. And it's just like this it's an emotional roller coaster after I have these foods. And then so I don't know how would that show up? Like, is that really what I'm feeling? Is that just a reaction? It's just so real in my body, and it's so emotional. And how would I get through that? I guess if you have any
I got a lot of
insight.
tips. A lot of tips.
Oh my gosh.
A lot. Okay. You ready to dive in?
Yeah.
And Linda, I'll grab Jen, then I'll grab Linda's, then we're going to call it quits. Cool. And I'll just message Logan, tell him what he feels like. So just stay in your body. Okay. You sure you're okay if I jump in, Jen? You're sure?
Yeah. Thank you.
Cool. First thing your guides are saying, it's not the foods. Foods are not the issue. Please take that in. Take that in. The foods are not the issue. There's some deep emotions that are sitting right in your solar plexus, in your neck as well, but mostly in your solar plexus that, according to them, you haven't dealt with. You're a fucking rock star. You're gorgeous inside and out, but you have an unconscious shadow, a pattern that you haven't dealt with, according to them. Mm-hmm. And it comes from your dad. And it's like, they're showing it to me like this. It's like and your mom, they're saying, it's like this. It's like a corkscrew, and it's twisted, and it's right in your solar plexus, which makes sense because then it's hard to eat certain foods. Mm-hmm. Agree with me still? Mm-hmm. And you know of the shadow I'm talking about. You guys are hilarious. Like, but she's stubborn and she won't work on it. Stay in your body. Tell me how that's feeling.
So it's feeling I'm excited to be getting some insight. And then I mean my stomach is clenched
Okay.
and it's feeling for sure accurate. Yeah, I'm stubborn and yeah, I'm but I'm also willing if I could figure out what I had to do to help this along.
I teach this a lot in the healing lab, but I'm just going to give you I'll give you like a point by point. Have you done much shadow work?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So in my world, Divi's metaphysical world, hey, any return to self people, Eve, do you want to work with Jen? Is that a yes? Eve, can you stick in, or I have your, because they circled you. Are you okay with that? Okay. So I'm going to send you Eve's email address, unless you can stick into the chat box. I'll pull it up. Don't worry, I'll pull it up. I'll do it after. Or you got it? Okay. So let me just give you a point by point, Jen. Okay. In my world, everything physical is metaphysical. Got it? Everything physical, say it differently. Thanks, Eve, is an unconscious pattern that hasn't been healed. Are you with me?
Yeah.
And then it
totally
throws up food, like health, relationship. But there's a lot of anger you've got related to your dad. They keep saying your dad. And that little girl inside you, she's a teenager and she's really fucking pissed. She's 8, 12, 14, really fucking pissed.
Yeah.
I am really hot right now. Okay. So that's the energy that you need to start working with. Got it? And there's definite steps in shadow work. I teach in the healing lab. They're circling Eve. There's a bunch of people on this call who are in my return to self container where you learn to do what I do for work. And they're doing their practice sessions right now. So they circled Eve as to reach out to you if you're, or I put her email address in there. Do you mind just Jen's writing her name?
Thank you.
And then reach out to Eve. But this is the part that basically, if I gave you the helicopter approach, you need to, number one, get in touch with this part of you. Number two, see it as outside of you. Okay. Like this is the part of you. Are you with me? She's 8, 12, 14, those ages, and she's fucking pissed.
Yeah.
And she lodged her way into there because that was the safe, that's all she could do. She couldn't speak. She couldn't speak her truth. And this party needs a place to, I just saw a volcano come up, and then forgiveness and healing. Got it? But in Divi's world and Divi's experience, because I've had to work through a lot of physical crap myself, Divi's experience, it's best done in a container, whether it be a group of people or one-to-one. Got it? Cool. So that you have somebody else who, because it's hard for you, here's you, to love this part of you because you're it. Is this making sense to your brain?
Oh, totally.
In my experience of doing this work professionally, being a client as well, it's only when I could, and this is for you, Carlene, as well, it's only when I could see this and go, oh, this is that part of me. And then somebody else held the container, that my coach would be over here next to me. And she'd say, Divi, can you see this? And then me and her would hold it together and go, well, let me love this part of me. And I can feel tears because there's so much sadness there, Jen, that you've got for her. And this is the part that's in your stomach that's not letting you eat sprouts. Can't make this shit up, right?
No, I love it. I mean, it makes more sense and more knowledge than what my doctors know. So I totally appreciate your time, and I look forward to connecting with Eve. And I'm doing a family constellation workshop this weekend, so hopefully that will be helpful.
Yes.
Cool.
And for anyone in return to self, they just circled Eve. I don't know why, just so you guys know, it's nothing against any of us, but just that's it, Jen. Does that help a bit?
Oh, immensely. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
The recording will be on the Skool app, Jen, Troy, afterwards. Yeah. Okay, Linda, can I read your question? Okay, go. Linda wrote in, I don't trust self to speak, but I feel such sadness and it's affecting me and everyone around me. I'm hard to live with. You and I should have coffee. I have everything. I hear everything today, but is there a shortcut for me to address the debilitating sadness? First thing they're saying is just be with it. I'm going to teach something. I don't think I've taught it in school, but I could be dead wrong. I might have taught it. I don't know. 3 beliefs of the ego. Sadness is, this is from Law of One. Sadness is lack. Attachment equals anger and frustration. And fear equals, or control equals fear. So when I'm working with somebody and I'm trying to figure out what's going on, this is in your first chakra. There is no chakra. Lindsay, do you want to talk to Linda? Lindsay, just throw in your email address. As someone who can relate, there is no shortcut. Bang on, Lindsay. Are you with me, Linda? No shortcut. Stay in your body. The sadness is because you don't believe you count, which is the lack. Is it all in your first chakra, like your tailbone is? I'm feeling your tailbone like this. Okay. And Linda, that belief that you don't lack is like, remember I did that curtain and the mind over here, it's wiring you. And I know we need to apply a lot of Course in Miracles to this. We need to step over here to forgive that part that believes you're lacking. Stay in your body, stay in your body, stay in your body, stay in your body, stay in your body. There you go. How does that feel? There, right there. You're seeing it. I can feel you're seeing it. And we can't spiritually bypass this and run to our guides. I can see them around you, but we need to see ourselves as they see us, not intellectually, but in here. How is that feeling, Linda?
I'll process it afterwards, but it's been going on now for a month or two, and it's really super intense. Like, I don't know this woman, but I think that that's just like an accumulation of so much for so long.
You nailed it. And like Lindsay said, there's not a shortcut. And that's why she put her email address in there. But it's like, you can't intellectualize it. But one of your guides is saying to me, sort of like Jen, there's a flat refuse, like it's a moment to moment, day to day thing, but you refuse to see yourself as a child of God where you are not lacking at all. Do you remember one of the videos I talked about the gap between us and spirit?
Yeah.
If you didn't see the gap, there could be no sadness.
I feel that.
Okay, there, right there, you just felt it. I wish there was a shortcut, but there's not. But it's moment to moment. Am I feeling the lack or am I not? And that's for you too, Jody. Does that make sense, Linda?
Okay. Thank you.
Sending you so much love.
Thank you.
All right, let's take a big breath together, guys. Really incredible, like 30 minutes, like boom, you guys made, that was incredible. Thank you, guys. Take a breath. See that our energy is connecting. Let's take a moment for gratitude though, just because that's the month we're in right now. I'm holding a lot of gratitude for each of the incredibly vulnerable shares that each of you guys made. I'm not going to repeat your names, that assisted all of us. Take a few breaths here. Nice. Feel your heart growing, feel your guides, there you go, around you. And then when you're ready, gently open your eyes. Really beautiful class. And Jen, I'm super excited for you. Linda, I'm super excited for you. Sending you guys so much love. Have a great day.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Thank you.